Welcome to my short training video. And my name is Charles McCall. And I'd like to encourage you, if you found this on my YouTube channel, I would encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video, and if this short lesson is beneficial to you, please share it with someone else. And so I want to talk to you about professional communication. When I share some of these things, they're very personal from me as I relate to other professionals. There is a lower level of communication that is acceptable from regular people. There's a level that is acceptable from lower level employees, but when you rise to the level of manager or executive leader, there is a higher level of expectation regarding communication from you. Professional communication. And so I'll tell you honestly, I'm a Christian, and so I read my Bible every day. And I use a Bible that is edited by John Maxwell, a leadership trainer. And so it's called the Maxwell Leadership Bible. And so John has, throughout the pages of the Bible, he puts different notes in that are very interesting. He draws leadership principles out of the lesson, the teachings, the history, and the stories of the Bible. It's very interesting for me. And so I was reading the other day about the story of creation in the first book of the Bible, about Adam and Eve. And so many of you might know the Bible story about Adam and Eve, the first man and first woman that God created. And there was a communication problem. And this is what John Maxwell brought out, and it just stirred me to want to share with you some communication, professional communication principles. And so this is how it works. God told Adam something. God gave Adam very specific and very detailed information. And then Adam went to his wife and he shared that information to her, but somewhere in the process of the communication it got messed up, and Eve didn't get it right for some reason. And so that's either Adam didn't communicate it right or clearly, or Eve didn't get it all in her mind, or she confused it or twisted it in her mind. I don't know, but the point is there was a communication breakdown. God told Adam, Adam told his wife Eve, but Adam apparently did not communicate clearly. He didn't give some details, and he didn't communicate the main point. And so when it comes to communication at a professional level, in a business or an organization, a school or a church, here are 4 simple things that you can do to make sure that you and your staff or employees communicate clearly with one another. Because if there can be a communication breakdown, there will be a communication breakdown. And so if it's possible that communication might be confused, it probably will be confused. And so therefore, as managers and executive leaders, we want to be very efficient in how we communicate. And so number one, and I'm sharing this with you, you might be an executive leader, or you might be a mid-level employee, or you might be an entry-level employee. But the first thing is, when someone is giving you information, pay attention. Pay attention to what someone tells you. Did you know our mind thinks much faster than our words? We can think faster than we can speak. And so when you're listening to something, or when someone is talking to you, sometimes your mind is off in every different direction. And so you need to capture your thoughts. And when somebody who is important to you, like your boss, or an employee, or a colleague, is telling you something about your work especially, focus your attention. cast out every other thought and pay attention to what they're saying. Don't look at your phone. Don't think about lunch. Don't think about your vacation next week, but focus your attention. So that's the first key, and this is probably the biggest problem for most people, is that our mind wanders and we don't really pay attention to what they're saying. And did you know that sometimes there are some people, they don't listen to what you say to understand, they listen to what you say so they can give an answer. Don't worry about giving an answer right away. Just listen and clarify. Make sure you ask them questions to confirm this is what they're saying. And so that is on down the list. Number 2, write down or use technology to keep the communication. Make it a corporate policy that this happens. Write down. Listen, I've worked with people all of my adult life. People forget. The highest level of leaders, they forget. I won't give you all of the personal examples because this might fall into some of the hands of the people I use as an example. The people forget. You must write it down in some way. You must keep track of it in some way. And so maybe you have, I used to use something called a daytimer planner. There's many different kinds of planners. They're a hard book and they have the date, they have pages in it, they have places to write your tasks, your activities, your plans, keep track of your appointments. So I used to use that. I use my smartphone now. We have everything that you need to do what I'm talking about is in your smartphone. And so you need to write it down. When someone tells you something that is important, especially about your job, don't think that you're going to remember it. You will walk away, you will get busy with something else, and you will probably forget it. And so it needs to be written down or use technology to keep track of it, or even do a voice recording. You must create a system to keep track of information that is important about your job. And so this is what a human resources manager would do, or somebody, but it needs to be a corporate policy in your organization, in your business, in your corporation, business, school, or church. It needs to be a corporate policy. And so how does that happen? You do a workshop. You have someone like me come in and we share about the importance of this issue. We do a workshop on communication, and then after we share, you stand up as the executive leader or the manager that you've appointed, and you say, this is a corporate policy. When someone is talking to you about your job, you write it down, or you record it, or you do something to keep track of it, and then you follow through with it. And so when you're in a conversation with someone, if they're not writing it down, you call them on it. Say, excuse me, here, I have a piece of paper and a pen. I'd like for you to write down what I'm saying. Now, this can be a bit humiliating at first. It can be a bit humbling at first. But this is corporate policy. It's something that you need to do for the health of your organization. And number 3, you need to think through, at least, you don't need to write down every word, but what are the essential points? What are the essential points that they're communicating? And how do you know that? Sometimes what you think are essential points is different from the person talking to you, what they consider to be essential points. So how do you find out? Number 4, you repeat it back. And so you make it a policy. So let me say, what I hear you, this is how you say it, what I hear you saying is that. Is that correct? That statement should be a statement that is commonly heard amongst your employees and staff, from the executive level down to the lowest level. And so what I hear you saying is that. Is that correct? And so they repeat it back and they write it down. And so this is just, again, a short lesson. And I'm happy to share this with you. This is like the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. And so I'm sharing this with you. I hope it will be beneficial for you. And so I am available on face-to-face, or I'm available online to be able to help your business, your organization, your school, or your church get some of these things done and rise to a new level. So again, I want to thank you. Please subscribe to my YouTube, and please like the video, and if it's been beneficial, share it with others. And if you think there's any way that I can help you and your entity, you can contact me, all right? And so thank you, and I wish you great success in everything that you do.